Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer.
Hey, how we all doing today, guys? Welcome to Soccer in 60. I'm your host, Tim Golotz, and we have the full crew back in charge today. We got Christian Philly Philemon back from his travels and escapades across the European continent. We've got a great interview today with defending MASL Defender of the Year, Robert Palmer. Doctor, he's in the house. And then we've got a great update on LAFC and their advancement in Leagues Cup. We've got Nina Kiefer joining us for a couple of updates with Angel City, and we're going to get after Orange County. Let's get right to it, Philly. How you been, baby? It's been a month since I've seen you.
Yeah, buongiorno, V Gates, and hello. All the different salutations from all the three cities I visited. That's London, that's Paris, and that's Frankfurt. It was nice being back in Europe. It was happy hour every minute of the day, baby, and it's happy hour right now. It's good to be back on in Soccer in 60.
Oh, man, it's great to have you back, Philly. You know, we had a few good shows without you. We had a couple good shows without me, but it's great to have the band back together, buddy.
Yeah, that it is. Reunited, and it feels so good.
Rock and roll, baby. Hey, you know what? It's fun having you back. Let's get into LAFC a little bit, man. You know, they've had a heck of a run over the past few weeks.
Tiki Tim, you are so right. That's right. Last night, LAFC Leagues Cup semifinals for the right to not only play for the Leagues Cup trophy, but for a spot in next season's CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is a big deal in this side of the world. Their opponent, the Colorado Rapids, a team that LAFC is 7-4-1 against historically. They split the regular season thus far in MLS. Colorado won at home in Commerce City at Dick's Sporting Goods Park by a scoring line of 3-2, and then LAFC thumped them recently 3-0 at BMO Stadium. But obviously, Leagues Cup is a totally different animal, Tim, and the Rapids have been on such a great run. How they got back to BMO Stadium, I'll tell you really quickly. They beat four consecutive Liga MX teams. No easy feat. They beat the Giants, Club America, in what was a wild and crazy game, a shootout. They absolutely neutralized America. Perhaps Club America had a lot of shots, but none of them were truly threatening. A credit to Colorado's defense. They beat Toluca 2-1. They beat Juarez 3-2. And shockingly enough, they beat León, that beat LAFC in the CONCACAF Champions Cup last year in a shootout. LAFC gets here by way of pretty much annihilating everybody in their path. They beat the Sounders on August the 16th by a scoreline of 3-0. They beat the San Jose Earthquakes on my birthday, thank you very much, by a score of 4-1. They beat Austin FC 2-0. And here we are about to take on the Columbus Crew in a rematch of what was last season's 2023 MLS Cup final. Juicy storyline, Tim. You got any questions before I rock and roll into this?
Oh, I got a bunch of them, but let's get rock and rolling. I'll pick up the pace and I'll make some fun noises and some fun sounds when I want to talk about it.
All right. When you want to get my attention, give me that wacky inflatable, like blow up doll guy that you see in front of the used car dealers. Let's get to it. It's important to note that Colorado had a really good transaction that transpired. Their center back, Bombito, talented young player. He was on Colorado's roster when they beat LAFC earlier in the season. He is leaving Commerce City to go to Nice to play professionally there. He's going to get to go to places like Saint-Tropez and Cannes. That's got nothing on Denver. So him not being in the lineup, huge omission. Their center backs, Maxo and Lalisa Bubakar, would have to step up. And step up for the most part, they really did. LAFC had a scenario early on where Denis Bouanga scored a goal, but it was ruled offside. Both teams were deadlocked 42 minutes into the game. And as I mentioned, the Rapids, a team on a hot streak. But LAFC, where they continue to thump teams, is in transition. Beautiful build-up from the midfield. Jesus David Murillo, whose job is mainly in the center back role, has been heavily involved in the offense as of late. He threads a pass on through Matty Bogusz. He fires one outside of the box that takes just a bit of a bounce and gets past former U.S. men's national team keeper Zach Steffen. That scores the first goal of the game. And Tim, that broke Colorado's spirit and momentum, because moments later, once again, LAFC would do it in transition again. This time it would be the veteran Kai Kamara who takes a pass from Ryan Hollingshead and smashes it past Zach Steffen. This team in transition is deadly. Ryan Hollingshead is an outside back. You had Jesus David Murillo, who was involved in the offense in the previous goal in the 42nd minute. They can get it done. They have so many different players that can beat you.
So you mentioned it, and this was the question I was going to ask. After that first goal, after they had played so well for the first 40 minutes, do you think that just crushed Colorado's soul after that Bogusz goal? I mean, I think it did. I mean, you saw the reactions, and we've had this conversation before about people, they're professional athletes, and are they going to give up? And they're going to try hard, and they're going to play really hard. But you could see that after how well they played to get that goal from 42 minutes in, I think it was a soul crusher.
I mean, it was. I mean, they're lucky to not have gone into the half down 3-0. As I mentioned, Denny got called offside on one of his goals, and they didn't do a really good job showing us the replay or the angle, so you couldn't really tell. Based on what I saw, I think Denny's goal was good, but they didn't really argue for it. It did crush them, because at that point, 42 minutes in, you're thinking, all right, they're going to weather the storm a little bit. They're going to head into the locker, and then things are going to be fine. But LAFC is really quick on the counter. And as a result of that, I think they caught Colorado blindsided, because it was just a beautiful run that led to that Kai Kamara goal. So fatigue makes a coward out of all of us, including professional athletes. That split second of like, all right, let's just get to the locker room, hold on to the 1-0. But LAFC punished them for it. And that's why they sat in a commanding spot going into the second half.
Yeah, and that Kai Kamara goal, just if the first one didn't bury him, the second one was just the nail in the coffin, because Colorado was just not the same team in that second half, were they?
No, not at all. And starting the second half, you would have Olivier Giroud coming into the game for Kai Kamara. Talk about champagne dreams and caviar problems. Good Lord. The leading scorer of France checking into the game. Guys won trophies and silverware everywhere he's gone. And he even created himself a couple of chances. Had an opportunity where there was a supposed call in the box, 11 meters out, 12 yards, whatever unit of measure you want to utilize. Olivier Giroud steps up. They went to VAR. They decided that, no, it wasn't a penalty in the box. So Giroud gets robbed of an opportunity to get on the scoring line. It's a shame. But anyway, going into it, 53rd minute, LAFC narrowly missed a chance to end it right there. On the counter again, Matty to Denny, who sails it over the crossbar, but he would get the last laugh, because 6 minutes later, Denny on the run again, Tim, basically box to box. After a failed corner attempt by Colorado, Denny absolutely carves up Colorado Rapids defender Sam Vines, slots one in. It's his 6th goal in this league's cup, 12 in this competition overall, dating back to last year. Denny has scored a goal or assisted on a goal in all 9 Leagues Cup games that LAFC has played in. Now,
that's amazing.
It's
absolutely amazing that he's scored it, or he's getting points in all 9 of these games. It's fascinating to see that the other teams just don't put like 5 guys on them.
Well, when they utilize that statement, like throw everything at him and the kitchen sink, I'm sure a lot of these teams would really wish they had a porcelain kitchen sink to throw at Denny, because that's the only way you're going to stop the Gabonese golazo score. Now, we talk about Olivier Giroud, Tim. All the attention is going to be on Olivier, and rightfully so. He's a handsome guy. He's France's all-time leading scorer. He's won Champions League. He's competed for some of the biggest clubs in the world, and it doesn't surprise me. But what should not surprise any of us is the fact that many of you probably don't know who Lewis O'Brien is. I doubt many of you are going to be familiar with him. Now, Lewis O'Brien was brought in to add depth into LAFC's midfield. He comes to LA on loan from English Premier side Nottingham Forest. Last season, he was on loan, played in the Championship, the second tier of the English football pyramid, for Middlesbrough. And he also played for DC United. Now, the reason why I bring him up, because he was the 4th LAFC goal scorer yesterday. 26 minutes worth of action. He had 1 shot on target, gets it past Zach Steffen. It wasn't the most devastating of shots, and one could argue under different circumstances, a keeper the quality of Stefan should have made the save, but nevertheless, that's how the game ends. LAFC staggering 22-5-6 in all competitions this season. Since suffering that 3-1 loss to San Jose on May 4th, LAFC's gone 18-1-3 in all competitions. Total team domination. Now, previewing what's going on forward, they advance into the League's Cup final. This guarantees them a shot in the CONCACAF Champions Cup next season. Reason being, because as per League's Cup rules, the first and second place teams, they're short a spot. So in this case, Columbus and LAFC. And then the winner of the Philadelphia Union Colorado Rapids game would determine the third team that's going to go. So LAFC is going to Columbus on Sunday, August the 25th, against a team that's pretty much been their kryptonite. The Crew made it there by virtue of defeating the Philadelphia Union by a score of 3-1. They had a bye in the group stages, courtesy of winning the MLS last season. In the round of 32, they beat Sporting Kansas City. Prior to that, they beat Inter Miami. The quarterfinals, 1-1 draw versus NYCFC, 4-3 win in PKs. Semifinals, 3-1 against the Union. Now, Denny is the player to watch. He's got 6 goals, Tim, but he is tied in League's Cup, 4 goals with former LAFC player. And when he was on LAFC, he was the Golden Boot winner. Diego Rossi. Kid's got 6 goals for the Crew in League's Cup. Somebody to keep an eye on. This won't be an easy match. The Crew handed LAFC their worst loss at home in club history by a score of 5-1. It was a thrashing that occurred back July 13th. And let's not obviously forget the MLS Cup final. So this will be a juicy matchup. And then after that, LAFC gets to go to the beautiful city of Tukwila, Washington, to take on the Seattle Sounders for the right to play in the U.S. Open Cup final. They'll be playing at Starfire Stadium with kickoff scheduled for 7:30 p.m. It's a small venue with a capacity of around 4,500. The Sounders had offices and utilized that training ground up until this season when they moved. NWSL side Seattle Reign now use it, and that's where the game is going to be. They are going in a place like Seattle where it rains, where you get some really good grass. They're going to get to compete on synthetic turf. Yet again, how in Seattle and Portland these teams play on turf is beyond me when the grass grows better there than anywhere else.
I'm right there with you, Philly. I just don't understand that. You know, it rains 409 days a year in Seattle because my buddy lives there. He lives in North Seattle and Edmonds. And so when it rains that much, how are you forced to use turf? I don't get it. I understand that you got to be able to play the games when you're not in the mud and stuff like that. But the next couple of games, you know, against Columbus is going to be a barn burner. Be ready. Buckle into that one, like the host of this show says on the intro. Buckle up because it's going to be a great match. And then the chance to play for the U.S. Open Cup final is going to be incredible too.
Absolutely. Stay tuned for that. Once again, LAFC plays on Sunday against the Crew. Then on Wednesday, kickoff 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. Black and Gold have opportunities to bring home a couple of trophies. Hopefully they can do it because they've only won once in a final. And that concludes your LAFC segment.
Awesome work, Philly. Great to have you back, buddy. Nothing like you talking about LAFC, man. Near and dear. Hey, with that, let's hop over to the Galaxy. Galaxy's last game seems like a month ago when they ended up losing in that League's Cup game to Seattle that we were just talking about. But here's the thing. They're coming into this. They've had a lot of action going on over the past couple of weeks since they got eliminated. You know, they've had some really good signings. They've putting together a lot of good work ethic back on the training pitch, but they're going to have Atlanta coming into this match. And Atlanta is one of these little sneaky teams. Yeah, they sit 9th in the East, but one of the things that they've done, they've kind of had a fire sale over the past couple of months, especially in this transfer window. And one of the things that they've done, they've gotten rid of Thiago, they've gotten rid of a couple of other guys, you know, but they've gained over $50 million in transfer funds, including over $21 million, which could reach as much as $30 million when they completed a transfer for crap, where'd my notes go? When it's one of these things. You got all these great notes, but they sent one of their guys out to Botafogo out in the Brazilian league, and that one alone was $21 million, and it could reach 30 million. So what they did with some of that money is they brought in a midfielder named Alexei Miranchuk, who comes over from Serie A, and I'm not going to screw this one up because it's pretty close. It's Atalanta is where he most recently played. But this is a guy that played for Russia in the 2018 World Cup. He's played in the 2020 Euros for Russia. And so he's going to have some really high quality. And the talk is that he's going to be ready for this matchup coming in this weekend at Dignity Sports Health Park. So if they put him in, it's going to shore up their midfield for Atalanta, because you got a few guys. You got Alamada, Saba, Rios. They've all got 6 goals. So it's not like they're not putting up goals every now and then. And it's Thiago Alamada. Sorry about that. Thanks, Gunnar, our producer behind the scenes. But if you get Alexi in that midfield for Atlanta, it's going to be a really strong midfield. Now, Atlanta is going to have to come in, and the talk is with the most recent LA Galaxy signing of Marco Reus, now you're going to have to deal with somebody else. He's coming in as a multiple German footballer of the year, multiple time league winner out in Germany. And so when you're looking at those two types of guys coming in that midfield in this weekend's game at Dignity Sports Health Park on Saturday, you're going to have some fireworks in the middle of that field. And then you got Ricky Pooch, and I'm almost getting concerned, Philly, about, is there enough soccer ball to go around between these guys, right? It's what's going to happen when you've got Royce and Pooch and, Paintsill all out on the field, and who's going to get the ball? Are they going to be able to work well together?
At this point, it's the Young Bucks team. And I think Marco Reus is professional enough to come in realizing this. Yes, he comes in highly heralded. The guy spent a decade and change playing at the Westfalenstadion, now known as Signal Iduna Park, at Borussia Dortmund. Nearly 300 games, 120 goals. Yeah, he's going to command the ball. But at the same time, he's still going to have to work his way into the lineup. This is a player that is 35 years old, who has been injury prone for quite some time. So will he come into this game right off the bat against Atlanta? Not Atalanta, the team that beat Bayer Leverkusen in the Europa League final, by the way, which is shocking. I think he'll work his way in, and then he still needs to command the respect with the team. He needs to develop that chemistry. He still needs to learn Greg Vanny's system. This isn't one of those things where you can plug and play and expect him to produce dividends right off the bat. Not a lot of people will come into a team and do stuff like that, in particular for the LA Galaxy, unless, of course, your name is Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Exactly. Okay, so that's good, because very similar to what they're doing with Giroud, right? They're getting them into the fold quickly, but limited minutes, right? So I think that's a good point. You're bringing in Marco at a slower pace. You get his fitness back up, because it's been a minute since he's played. And then again, like you said, he's got to command that respect of the room, because it isn't his team, and he's coming in with some really strong and a lot of chemistry. So. But one of the things, Atlanta comes in, again, we mentioned it. They're coming in sitting 9th in the East. They're 1, 2, and 3 in their last 6 games, including a loss to the Indy 11 of the USL Championship. So, and they're not very good on the road, whereas the Galaxy is on fire at home. They're 9, 1, and 3 at home. They're not losing any games. And when you get a team like Atlanta coming in that has got the a little bit of they've gotten rid of a lot of guys. So you talked about chemistry a minute ago. They've lost some of that chemistry. I think the G's are ready for a nice hard fight against Atlanta. I think they're coming out on top against these guys.
Yeah, I have no doubts. The Galaxy have better chemistry. They have a better team. Atlanta United certainly won in terms of selling players. Giacomakis going to Cruz Azul. Thiago Almada, who was, I believe the only reigning active player to be in this league and win a World Cup, being with Argentina in that last World Cup against France. He's another big player, but this is a team that I believe is starting to stack up their chips for the long term. I don't see them creating any kind of a scenario in which they're going to be a dominant team. Perhaps they make somewhat of a push, getting themselves into the playoffs, and then, that's a whole nother season. Who knows? Right. But I think this is an Atlanta team that's building up for the future. And by the way, shout out to Carlos Bocanegra. He is friend of the pod, Jimmy Nordberg's best friend growing up, and he's a Fulham legend and a U.S. men's national team legend. He's done quite well for himself as the technical director of Atlanta United. So good on him. They're racking in the dough. Hopefully they turn that into a franchise winning scenario or a club winning scenario, because truth be told, after they won MLS Cup, it's all been downhill for them since they started this expansion club.
Yeah, they win the cup, and then it's kind of like what the Miami Marlins did. You win, you fire sale. You win, you fire sale. And that's what we're hoping for too. Because Atlanta is a great venue. They play in that big giant stadium, but they take really good care of it. It is on turf, AstroTurf, but to play in there when you can pack that place with 60, 70,000 people, when you get a little fired up for a big game, it's got to be super fun.
Oh, yeah. Footy Mob brings it. Their supporters group is outstanding down in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's really nice. So with that, go check out the LA Galaxy this weekend at Dignity Sports Health Park. They do play at 7:30, but get there early. There's a couple of DJs out there playing. You got DJ Coco, you got DJ Breezy out there spinning some vinyl for you. And, vinyl, the big giant things that play at 33 1/3 for the younger folks out there. Oh, wait, it's making a comeback.
It is making a comeback. Tiki Tim, when are we going to call you Tiki Tim Turntables? Get out there, DJ yourself.
Exactly. I'll go spin it around, and I'll do the waka waka, just like the Beastie Boys used to do. I just won't sample as many thousands of other people as they did. But it's going to be a fun time. Get out there early. Get to go to the pregame party, have a good time with it. It'll be a great time. And with that, we're going to turn it over to our friend of the show, Nina Kiefer, who's got our great Strikers interview with defending MASL champ defender of the year, Robert Palmer.
Thank you, Philly and Tim. Our guest today is a legend of the Major Arena Soccer League, the highest level of indoor soccer in the world. Born in Kingston, Jamaica, he has spent most of his adult life in Missouri and has a name for himself primarily with the MASL outfits Kansas City Comets and Empire Strykers, with whom he re-signed this week for a second stint in Greater Los Angeles. He's a leader for Strykers, a fan favorite, two-time reigning MASL Defender of the Year, and three-time MASL Elite Six selection. Welcome to Soccer in 60, Robert Palmer.
Hi, thanks for having me. Nice introduction.
Thanks for joining us today. We can see you got some nice clouds. You're outside on the pitch, as we would all expect. It's so nice to have you joining us, and welcome back to the Empire. As I said, you just re-signed with Empire Strykers here in Greater LA. You previously spent 3 seasons with the club, and after asking for a transfer to Kansas City, your original indoor club, you're now back with the Empire, which is exciting news for all of us here. But of course, we're also curious how that came about. If you don't mind, talk me through the process of how you ended up returning to the Strykers.
Originally, I the relationship with Mr. Borum, Jeff Borum. I would say both leaving to come here in Kansas City, was due to a relationship with him, and going back to Empire was my relationship with Jeff Brum. So it's both ways, leaving and coming back.
Of course. Jeff Brum, the amazing owner of Empire Strykers, an incredible support of the players. But I believe you spent 9 seasons now with the Comets, dating back to the old Major Indoor Soccer League. The upcoming campaign, as I said, will be your 4th with Empire Strykers, or as they were previously, Ontario Fury. How many more seasons do you think you have to spend in Los Angeles before you consider it as much home as you do in Missouri?
I consider it as home. I think reason being with Missouri kind of being home is second home in a sense because it was the first place I settled since when I left Jamaica. So and went to college here and being here and familiar. And I think as an international, it's one of those things where wherever they kind of settle when they leave their home country, they kind of want to be that place unless they go somewhere that they can get out of completely of where they were living, being in the US. They're kind of like, okay, let me make this now my new home. So it's just kind of an international thing, I would say, to where you look at a lot of international, they always tend to go back to where they first settled when they get to the US. But yeah, I consider California, my home as well. Even my car right now is still a California license plate. So and my wife, still in California, so I still go there, and even summertime, and being there, even when I was, here in Kansas City, I was, still back and forth a lot. So, but now it'll be more time because now I'll be playing again there. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, there we go. We get to say welcome home. And we want to say welcome back to your old team. But when we look at the current roster, there's barely anyone left from your first stint with the Strikers. Instead, you're joining a side that kind of struggled from 2023 to 2024 due to a lack of experience, but features major stars like Marco Fabian and Miguel Ponce. Empire also recently signed reigning MASL MVP Castillo and
Yep.
2021 MASL Goalkeeper of the Year Clayson De Lima. What are your thoughts on the upcoming season? What would make it a success for you individually and for the team?
Um, I think I've received a lot of individual stuff even from your introduction. It'd be good to have collective stuff, team awards, nothing, be team awards, the memories, as I said, the journey and getting there is nothing like that. I still remember when I won my one and only championship during the MISL time, and a lot of my teammates will still have memories regarding that. So, it would be great to win a championship and bring even the first one there to Empire in the Inland Empire, and it's always good to be first. I think that you're a pioneer when you do anything, for the first time. Your people will remember that, as long as possible. So, yeah, I played with Clayson. I think on the team right now, Clayson, Justin, Izzy, Adam. There's several players there that I've played with. They're still there, and I'm looking forward. You have Marco Fabian, and now you have Castillo, who I've played both. I've played against, and they have a lot of young talents as well there. So I'm looking forward to it to bring my experience. That I've learned and can pass on and to help the team. It's just however I can help the team. That's all I'm about. However I can help the team. If I have to make sacrifice to make the team better and to win, that's me.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's all about the team sport. You're very individually awarded, but I want to go back, speaking of individual, into your early life, growing up in Jamaica. You're from the capital, Kingston. Why don't you give those of us who are not from Jamaica an idea of what it's like growing up as a kid, being really good at soccer? What was your life like overall, and what role did sports play in your childhood?
Um, I, it's funny. I was just talking to that with one of my close friends where we spend hours playing. I would say probably 2 to 3 hours, or sometimes just when it get dark, even our practices because we kind of play outside a lot. So it was kind of like our parents were more scolding us to get inside, stay inside, more than try. Now with all the technology, it's trying to opposite, trying to get kids outside to go play. So it was like that, and we played every day except maybe we play every day with our friends, and then with club soccer was every day except maybe Friday. And if we don't have a game, was practice on weekend. We practice in the morning, and then Sundays we play pickup. So it's pickup club. So we're playing a lot Growing up there, I wouldn't change it. It wasn't the easiest neighborhood where I grew up, but it made me who I am today. Like I want to change one thing, and I'm grateful for my parents, my siblings, my friends, my family, because it was kind of the whole family kind of and the neighborhood kind of like raised me, and that's how it is. It was for me growing up to where um, your neighbors could discipline you just as your parents because everyone look out for each other, and it was fun. As a kid, it was fun, regardless of certain circumstances that was happening around.
Hmm.
I never tried to indulge in certain things, but other than that, it was fun. I still have close friends, best friends, memories we've shared, same way from growing up, and how things were. And then you know, played for my um, elementary school, high school. I was captain, leader. I played for two different high school, two rivals actually, and won both places. So it was kind of a thing that never really done in Jamaica, to where because tradition and going to it's like a big rival. It's a big thing where they take it seriously, right? So for me to leave one traditional high school that is very prominent to go to another one that's a rival and then win, even though I went there for 1 year. So and then so that's how it was for me in Jamaica. It was just a lot of playing, family oriented, spending a lot of time. Even when I
Hmm.
was coming here for college, I wanted to be close to my family, because I love my family and just want to be close to them. So I didn't want to honestly come here because I want to stay close to my family. So yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can tell you're very team and family oriented, but I mentioned earlier some individual accolades, and you are actually the all-time MASL leader in blocked opposition shots, and that's just absolutely fascinating to me. Tell me, what's going through your head as somebody releases a powerful shot on frame and you decide you're going to jump in the way of that? You have fearless, good instincts. What skills allow you to get your body in the way with such consistency?
I think more is just also players' tendency, based off the players. There's certain players that like to shoot between the legs, or certain moves, or as I said, tendencies that they have. I kind of, been in the league for a while, so it kind of, to where I can read the situation, when I'm being playing defense and some of it's just instinct, throwing my body on the line. Some of it just really instinct as well. But you gotta have some bravery. Just like I always think the goal is indoor. They're way much more braver than me to be getting shots that close, and be able to make those saves and get balls in the head, face, all over. But yeah, as I said, the individual awards good, but I want some more team awards. And also, on the MASL, I'm the leader in short-handed goals as well to the man down team. I
Hmm.
think it's seven goals, which is hard. You should more. You're playing man down, so it's not easy to score goals at least. So those records are good, but records are meant to be broken. Well, you can't take away the championship. So, that's why I'm aiming for to try to win, you know, one or two more or even more championships. So,
Absolutely. We look forward to that. And we're also looking forward to the indoor rivalry clash between the US and Mexico at Toyota Arena in Ontario on September 29th. Because this game is not part of an official competition, luckily for you, eligibility rules are flexible and you've been called up because you're actively working towards your US citizenship. What
yep,
does it mean to you to represent the country you've called home for nearly all of your adult life?
I know. I think, just thinking about it now, I've been here since 19, you know, and still here. So it's like, it's around this time I got here in August. So it's 16 years now being here, and As I said, I call here home, because that's where I spend all my adult life. And now I have family here. So I'm looking forward to it. I've played with the U.S.-Mexico game. It was a close game. I think we lost by 1 or 2 goals. And then last year, 2 years ago, and then last year the U.S. won. I think it was the first time beating the Mexico team in the U.S. on the U.S. soil. So I'm looking forward to it to compete against a lot of really good players in the league. Um, some I think will be teammates of mine. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it, and players that I've competed with in the league, competed against in the league, be my teammates. Always fun, to you know maybe get some insight of what I can do during my season when I play against them. So yeah, it should be fun.
Awesome. Well, it's been such a joy to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time, and best of luck to you with Team USA and the Strikers. That was Robert Palmer once again on Soccer in 60.
Thank you so much, Nina. Your first opportunity to see Bertzo Palmer will be September 29th at Toyota Arena. Joining him, this was recently announced, former U.S. men's national team midfielder and left back, former MLSer Breck Shea. Shea played 34 times for the national team. He had a great outdoor career. Gonna be hopefully an indoor career. Maybe who knows how this game goes, but he's had some chemistry with some of our players. He was with Konkefa SC and Stefan Mijatovic. So once again, check out that game September 29th. Tickets can be purchased on Ticketmaster.com. Prices between $20 and $35. Hope to see you there. If not, yours truly will be on the call.
Awesome. And I'll be there too, Christian. I'll be there hanging out with you, and I won't be on the call, but I'll definitely be in the stands yelling and screaming, "Go USA." Mm-hmm. So, and with that, let's hop over to Orange County. And they welcomed in El Paso Locomotive this past weekend. And we talked about this pretty heavily on last week's show, that El Paso is sitting in the bottom of the division, bottom of the conference. But lo and behold, 3 of their 4 wins coming into this game were where? On the road. And this was a tough one for the OC boys. They came out well. They ended up having about 14 shots on goal, 13 shots, but 4 of them on frame. But I'm telling you, Jamali Waite was just, he played a really, really strong game. And, it's wide open. There was a lot of fast action. There was a bunch of shots on goal. El Paso had 17 shots with another 4 on frame. It was a fun game to watch. Unfortunately, Eric Calvio, former Orange County player. We talk a lot about former players coming back to haunt not only the MLS teams, but also Orange County. Eric comes through, and there was some strong buildup coming up to this. And Shuttler was playing well. There's a couple of shots that were blocked. And unfortunately, Eric gets behind the Orange County defense. And as Kyle Scott turns to collect the ball, he does not see Eric Calvio come and just racing towards the net, and he just gets him. Eric Calvio comes, down in a big giant pile in the middle of the penalty area. Referee points directly to the spot, and then or Lyons rather had the ball, and he came into the spot, and down goes Lyons, and Eric Calvio steps up and puts the PK away. And up until that point, Orange County had been playing really well. Jamali had made a couple of saves on Chris Hogart that came into the game. Cameron Dunbar gets a really strong shot on frame later in the match. But this penalty kick by Calvio just puts the nail in the coffin for Orange County. They only get another couple of chances the rest of the game. But one of the things that I found very interesting, and this goes back to your interview with Paul Hardiman 3-4 weeks ago. If you don't score, you don't win, right? I mean, and we've had the boys have had good shots on frame. They're just not getting enough on frame. It's okay to have 13, 14, 18 shots, whatever they are. But if you're only putting 3 or 4 on frame a game, it's very difficult. And with the keeper like El Paso has, it's a challenge, right? And so one of the big things that the Orange County boys are going to have to tackle this weekend is they travel all the way across the country. They go out and they're playing the Charleston Battery. Now, Charleston is one of the premier teams in the USL Championship this year. They are just killing it at home. They are 9-1-1 at home, and their leading scorer is a guy named Nicholas Markanich. And, we talk about leading scorers that have got 6, 8, 10, 12 goals. This is great. Markanich is killing it. He's at the top of the league, and nobody else is close. Markanich has got 21 goals on the season. Next closest guy, 14. The other thing is that he also has 5 assists to tie for the team league. So if he's not scoring it, he's dishing the ball to somebody else that's putting the biscuit in the basket. And this is going to be a problem for Orange County because they've now gone through over 360 minutes without scoring a goal. Their last goal was 5 games ago in an 88th minute by Owen Lamb. And so, they're going into a buzzsaw of the Battery. I'm hoping that Paul's got the guys ready to go, because otherwise it's going to be a bloodbath, man. I hope that, they get a couple of guys back. I know that Coach Paul had talked about getting some guys back from injury. Thomas Among still hasn't played in a while. They're using a lot of younger guys. Shuttler has been nicked up and he missed a few straight games. So the hope is that Orange County gets a good flight out there, gets a good night's rest, and gets after it at one of the most beautiful stadiums in all of the USL Championship out there in Charleston, South Carolina. So here's good luck to the boys. Let's hope they get after it. Midfielder Kyle Scott will miss this match because of yellow card accumulation. He picked up one late in the El Paso game. So he won't be in the starting lineup for the Orange County boys. And it's just, the hope is that they come out and they really get after it, because they're a good, strong team. They're just now out of the playoff picture. But again, 3 points are separating the bottom 6 teams. So let's get after it, Orange County boys. We'll be cheering for you. And they'll be back home next weekend. But check out the game. They're on ESPN Plus this weekend. So with that, we are going to head over to Nina Kiefer's joining us again. She caught up with us later on, and she's going to talk Angel City Football Club.
Thank you, boys. And breaking news today from Angel City FC, Allie Riley has been placed on the season-ending injury list due to a chronic and persistent leg injury that has kept her out of the majority of the 2024 NWSL season. Allie Riley, of course, has been the captain for Angel City since their inaugural game, and it's quite sad to see her going out like this. She's one of our older veteran players, and she's had a great presence on the pitch and the locker room, and I do expect that we will continue to see Allie Riley as a presence on the field in terms of her energy and her compassion towards the players, her camaraderie with the team, and how she's bringing everyone up. But unfortunately, I think this might be the end of Allie Riley as a player. That's just my personal opinion. I do think, however, we see her very shortly transition to a role on perhaps the coaching staff. This is just my gut intuition from Allie Riley's energy and work with the team. She, of course, was overseas playing on the Olympic team for New Zealand, but had to be removed from that squad, where she ended up doing a lot of work with Angel City in terms of their philanthropy work during the Olympics. But before we get into more of that, we have some Angel City recaps to bring you. Angel City FC actually beat the Liga MX Femeniles FC Juarez 7-0 in a friendly, following a hat trick from forward Messiah Bright, a break by forward Claire Emsley, and a goal from each defender Megan Reed and forward Alyssa Thompson. I had predicted a 3-1, but this game was a true showstopper at home. Angel City opened the scoring in the first minute when Bright's confident one-touch strike hit the bottom of the crossbar and bounced into goal. Angel City did not take long to double their lead. Defender Megan Reed connected with the ball in the penalty area and hammered it home into the back of the net. Bright notched her second in the 8th minute, beating a defender to the right of the 18-yard box to find space, then shooting with her left foot. Their goalkeeper blocked the initial effort, which bounced straight back out to Bright, and she sent that rebounded ball inside to the far post, bringing the score 3-0. In the 18th minute, that's right, we're still in the first little chunk of the game. Angel City was awarded a penalty kick, and Alyssa Thompson stepped up to the spot and buried her attempt into the lower right corner of the goal. Claire Emsley found the back of the net in the 22nd minute after Bright sent her lateral pass into the midfield. Bright completed her hat trick in just the 36th minute. That is more than a goal every 12 minutes. Messiah Bright bringing it home. Reed had initially got her head on a corner kick from Emsley, with the ball then falling into the goal line near the far post, where Bright controlled the ball and tapped it across the line with her right foot. Absolutely fantastic to see Messiah Bright earning her first hat trick for Angel City. And then in the 45th minute, Claire Emsley added a 7th, sending a free kick curving just under the crossbar from 25 yards. Claire Emsley has been Angel City's free kick taker for quite some time. Very exciting to see her notch that 7th goal, and they go into halftime up 7-0. Absolutely fantastic effort from the Angel City team on their home pitch. And actually, how it basically ended. We end 7-0. The second half didn't really include anything of note, no goals, nothing crazy happens. But, a 7-0 game in 45 minutes, absolutely crazy enough for me. The game included a handful of milestones for Angel City players, including Bright's first Angel City goal and her first professional hat trick. It was also Angel City's first ever hat trick as a club. Reed's goal was her favorite as a professional, while goalkeeper Hannah Stromborough, who subbed in for Didi Herachich in the 29th minute, earned her first minutes for Angel City. The game also marked a club record for most goals in a single game, beating the previous record of 5, which the team set against Portland on October 15th, 2023. Angel City is going to play again Saturday, August 24th at 1:30 p.m. on the road in San Diego. Let's go into that rivalry. But first, we have a bit of news coming from our SoCal rivals. San Diego Wave had fallen into a bit of a slump to start their season. They actually fired their head coach, Casey Stoney. But news out of San Diego this week, former U.S. men's national team and LA Galaxy great Landon Donovan has signed on as interim head coach. For those of you who haven't followed Landon Donovan, he has been calling San Diego home for the recent past few years, and we're very excited to see him take on this role. He's admitting that there's going to be a bit of a learning curve in terms of learning about the differences between men and women's soccer, especially as it comes to accessibility and availability of products and supplies and materials. So we will see how they do under them. But so far, Wave are doing pretty well. They won their first match under Donovan down in Panama last Tuesday, playing in the CONCACAF Women's Championship Cup. This Saturday, as Angel City FC hit the road and head south, Wave are actually welcoming home 6 Olympians, including U.S. Women's National Team gold medalist Naomi Girma and Jaden Shaw. Let's dive into this rivalry. As you know, San Diego Wave and Angel City both started in the same year in the NWSL. In their previous 10 matches, San Diego Wave have won 3, Angel City won 3, and there have been 4 draws, so pretty evenly matched up. I will say, however, that Angel City have won a lot of those matchups in some of the out-of-league games, your Challenge Cups, your Summer Cups, things like that. Angel City haven't lost as many players as the Wave and therefore have been able to retain most of their full squad. But as we look back onto June 17th, 2023, which would have been one of the last few times, and May 23rd of this year, May 23rd, it was a 0-0 game against San Diego Wave. And going back even further into last year, the second to last regular NWSL game, you're going to have 2-1 for Angel City. Now, both teams are vying for a spot in the playoffs with them sitting in 10th and 11th place. I'm excited to see this. Angel City haven't lost to San Diego Wave in their last 5 meetings, but we are confident that they will hopefully be able to continue that momentum. Expectations for the match, make sure you're watching Jaden Shaw, as I mentioned, Claire Emsley for Angel City. We're excited to see this. I expect Dahlkamper to be glued to Christian Press and Gurma covering kind of the rest of the pitch. This is going to be an off-the-ball game for Angel City. They need to find space in front of a well-defended goal, but that is what Christian Press does well. And as we head into this final game, I'm going to throw it back to Philly and Tiki. Tim, I've got one question for you both. Who has the momentum? Angel City, who have had their full squad and recently won 7-0, or the Wave with the return of their gold medalist and a new coach? What role is momentum going to play in these last 10 games as both teams vie for a spot in the playoffs?
It's a darn good question. Thank you so much for that recap, Nina. One could really go any way with that. You can argue with a new coach. There's always that coach bounce back. But in my perspective, that coach comeback already happened. We know that there's been a lot of criticism drawn to the hiring of Landon Donovan. You could say the criticism has been coming in waves. In my opinion, I think the momentum favors Angel City. They've been together. They've been whooping up on San Diego on a number of occasions, and they just put a touchdown up on the scoreboard. I hate utilizing any sport comparisons other than ones for this beautiful game, but you don't often see a 7-0 scoring line in the beautiful game. The closest thing to that is, again, a touchdown. So to me, the momentum favors Angel City. They're together. They're finally healthy. They've been playing together. I think it's going to be much easier for them to capitalize on that and beat up on San Diego, considering they've had players that are out of the lineup and a new coach, new system. I think this goes to Angel City.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Philly, on this one. You know, we combat a little bit, and it's good banter, but I'm with you right behind you on this one because the Angel City just needed some confidence. You know, they played well in the Summer Cup that they had. They played great over Juarez, and to come up with 7 goals, especially in a first half, and you're able to pull in your backup goalkeepers and things like that and get a lot of people a lot of minutes. I think the chemistry is not going to quite be there yet for the San Diego Wave. I'm expecting the Angel City to come out, play really, really strong. They got Kristen Press back in that lineup, and I think it's going to be one for the Angel City gals, and they're going to go after them and get them.
I'm with that. I mean, maybe at some point San Diego will turn things around. There is a bit of a learning curve that Landon's going to have to adopt. He had a pretty good coaching tenure at San Diego Loyal, but in reality, he's been there just a couple of years. Obviously, arguments could be made on the Angel City side, but they're intact. They're healthy. They're playing with a full deck of cards, and I mean that physically with players on the sheet, not anything else. Angel City takes this, and that's how I feel, and that's the bottom line because Philly said so.
That's right, and that's the bottom line. And with that, that was a great recap by Nina. I'm looking forward to that game against the Wave, and that'll be a fun one. With that, let's get into a little miscellaneous. Premier League started this past week, and there's been some new, really interesting rule changes, right? A couple of these have come from the Olympics and how well they picked up. They've tried them in the lower division pyramids in Europe for a while. But I'm especially excited about this one as a former referee that it's a yellow card. If you're not the captain, you come up and start squawking about stuff. I think it's fantastic. I think the younger players, and if this gets adopted in the younger youth groups, I think this is going to be fantastic because it'll take away a lot of the angst that some of these younger referees that are just coming up through the ranks have to deal with, even at the under 12s, under 15s, and the high school level.
The captain is the captain because he's been elected to be the leader of that team, the most well-recognized, the most respected. That should be the player that, yes, communicates with the official when things get kind of irie. You want to have a team that shows discipline amongst its players, and to have a rookie, so to speak, just to use an example, argue at a referee when he's not supposed to or he's not really meant to, give it to the captain. That should be primarily his responsibility. Captain, for the most part, is probably somebody tenured within the league, maybe even knows the officials, knows how the thing runs. Captain absolutely should be the one to squawk at the ref. If anybody at all, I would remember getting yelled at by my coach when I played. Shut up, leave the Christian, leave the talking to me. Don't you say anything. That's how I grew up. But if they're going to allow the players to talk, let it be the guy with the armband.
Yeah, exactly. And as captain of a bunch of teams growing up, it was that thing. You had to have a leader, right? And that's one of the biggest things that the these teams and these leagues are now forcing upon the teams like Chelsea and all of these other guys. You know, if you have an armband, you get to talk to the referee. Everybody else, go away, leave the guy alone, because he's going to be the one that's going to have a more level head. The other one that's kind of fun that I like is not necessarily having the 10 minutes of added time at the end of the game. You know, if it's warranted, you know, and you got a dead guy in the field and you got to fish him off, that's one thing.
Jesus.
But if you just have a goal celebration or the substitutions, right? Those are normal parts of the game, and you should not be adding time. And this 30-second celebration rule, I think, is going to really, really speed up the game and make it much more fun to watch.
I mean, if we're talking 10-minute stoppage times, we're talking the last World Cup. Yeah, those are kind of annoying. I agree with you, but you know how hard it is to score a goal in this game. How many 0-0 games have you seen throughout your life of being a fan of this wonderful game? Several. So I don't mind that they celebrate, but yes, anything in excess of 30 seconds, a nice little slide, a little sue, a little whatever you got to do, then go right to center pitch and start taking care of business. I'm all for that, but don't let the celebrations go off, because some of the times that's fun just to see what these guys can do.
Absolutely. I love a good celebration, you know, and, you know, when you have guys doing backflips and stuff, that's fun. But get back.
As long as they don't tear the ACLs.
Yeah, exactly. Remember to join us on Instagram at Soccer60. Interact with the show at Tim at soccer60.com. Catch us on your favorite podcast networks, and, you know, come join us even after the show. You know, interact with us. We're fun guys to hang out with, not just on Thursday afternoons at 4:00.
Yeah, tell your mom, tell your friends' moms. Come join us, hang out. Let's grow this all together. We're all on all of your great podcast platforms. Happy hour, baby. Let's toast together.
Awesome. And with that, hey, it's been a joy hanging out with you guys today. Philly, thanks for coming back. I appreciate it.